people just are very reminiscent about the OGs, right? And I do think the legacy kind of gave them a little sliver of reminder of what it looks like, right? And it's just different now.
How long does it take you to clean Bluestone Manor from like top to bottom?
Very interesting. So, I have, of course, Len's been with me for a long time, 17 years. I have 4 times a year, I have a team come in, and I'm doing that this weekend. And they literally, I would say 6 people spend like 2 days just going from top to bottom, because with the season changes, you need to wipe everything down. I don't care how clean your house is, you need to remove everything, wipe everything down, refresh it, and also get rid of all the things that accumulate at Bluestone Manor, between stuff that people send me and Amazon and life and breakage. But I'm talking like indoor, outdoor.
Yeah.
It's indoor,
it's a big project. It really is.
Well, it's 10,500 square feet in 18. So, I mean, and, and I just think it's so important to stay. And then what happens is Len's there with me a lot of the time. And then I'll usually just have someone come on the weekends and give her a hand, because, if I have guests stay in the 6 bedrooms, I don't leave anything messy. Like when the room is, each room is left like you found it. I don't leave a dish. I don't leave a sink full of stuff. Everything gets wiped down, cleaned, sprayed before I go to bed at night, because you must, you don't want viruses, bacteria, mice.
Yes.
I was just saying that there's 2 things I do. I never have a dish in my sink at night, and I never wake up in the morning without waking my bed. I just couldn't.
I totally agree with you. Nothing bothers me more than waking up to a mess. Speaking of waking up to messes, you've had some pretty epic house guests over the years. Can you pick who was the messiest?
Oh, another one. I would say the messiest cooker was Brandy in Ultimate Girls Trip.
Okay.
And I hate when people spill all over the stove and stuff. And that is something that I'm really on top of. As soon as something spills on a stove or spills in a refrigerator, which I never understand how people can spill something in a refrigerator and keep it there without wiping up, at my house or anyone else's house.
Is there anybody that was like way too messy that you'll never invite back again?
Well, I know who I'll never invite back again, but that's not because of a mess, really.
Oh, who's that
one?
Is her name rhyme with Ricky?
I'm very happy she doesn't want to come back, and I don't want to have her back. So this is called the match made in heaven.
I love it so much. Dorinda, I found it so interesting because I think you said in an interview recently that obviously Bluestone is like the Disneyland of housewives, but is it true that maybe you might part ways with Bluestone Manor one day?
I never thought that after Richard passed that I would keep the house. It's a big house. It's 10,500 square feet. It's 18 acres. And I like to keep the inside and the outside a certain way. I always made a vow to myself after Richard passed. If I couldn't keep it as nice as we kept it together, I don't want to keep it. I didn't want to be one of these women that had that house that was falling apart, because I thought, I'm just not doing that. But someone asked, would you ever not have it? I said, well, you just don't know. One thing I am aware of, since my parents have gotten older and I've gotten older, but not too old, that, I sometimes I think, am I going to have this forever? Do I see myself 75 wandering around, 18 acres? And just depending, it was more about the fact that you must always be open to change. And no matter what happens, who would have thought that I would have owned this house for 20 years? Yeah. So, if the right situation came up, if God forbid, when my parents are no longer there, because a big part of the reason I have loved being up there is my parents there, or maybe Hannah isn't going to come up as much, or things shift and change. I think you just have to always be open to change. Yeah. Who knows? I could be living in the south of France at, 75, painting. You just always have to be able to shift, move, and accept the fact that everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But I will tell you one thing. When the day comes, if I ever were to change, move, or, sell it, I will never regret any of it. Like, every day spent there has been a blessing. And I think I did it. I always say I did that place honor. Richard would be very proud. Who would have thought it? It's like, it's a character in its own right.
It's like it's become an attraction. It really has. I mean, people want to go
And they
there.
freak out when I come down because they don't realize that there's actually a person that lives here.
Right. Yeah. You're like, I actually live here. This is my home. Speaking of New York, I know that they just announced the new season of RHONY, but there was rumors going around that maybe some of you might come back this season. They had like 10 apples in this announcement, and there's only a few of the ladies. So were any of those discussions had?
Not with me, but I mean, obviously I wasn't considered in that.
Would you ever foresee yourself ever maybe like coming back onto the show with those ladies? Do you think that would gel?
I'm always open to anything. My experience with Bravo has always been very positive, and I never say no to anything. And if there were a situation where they wanted us to come back and way, shape, or form, I think I would be open to it. I think the audience would be open to it. But I was never approached about that. And I don't know if that's something that they ever really talked about to us. I think the audience wanted it.
Yes.
And they were hopeful. And I think I was just saying to someone else from Distractified that, I think that people just are very reminiscent about the OGs, right? And I do think the legacy kind of gave them a little sliver of reminder of what it looks like, right? And it's just different now. People are still adjusting to that difference. But
no, totally. And I mean, legacy was...
I think the legacy was a huge success. What I'd really love to see is another sort of legacy somewhere on a boat, somewhere different. Like I think legacy on a below deck boat would be hysterical.
Oh my God. Sign me up immediately. Like, right? Have you pitched that idea to Andy? Is that like maybe in motion?
I think we have pitched it. We've pitched I think the legacy back up at Bluestone Manor would be incredible. I'll tell you what I do think would be hysterically funny. And I think that, Jersey almost did it last season. I think it'd be very fun to see the new New York girls come to Bluestone Manor for a night.
Yes.
Now that
would
be fun. One night
would be fun.
Maybe have one of the other girls with me there, Lou there, welcome them for a dinner and an overnight stay, and then the audience, I think we get a kick out of that.
I think so too. You mentioned that you have always had a wonderful experience at Bravo, and I'm sure you've seen the news and things like that of everything that has been in the news about fellow former castmates of yours coming forward with lawsuits against Sandy. What was your reaction to that, and can you kind of elaborate on your positive experience with the network?
I just didn't understand it at all. I mean, I was there for 6 years, and then I don't know, was I put on pause? Was I fired? That will go on in centuries. That will be the question of the century. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay. And I've always had a positive experience about that. And I've always worked very well with production and NBC. And for me, it was work. Mm-hmm. And I had a lawyer. I read the contract, I signed, I did my work, and I left. So I was very surprised by all that. Listen, I'm not going to live in a fantasy and say it's always perfect. You don't walk away from anything and say, this is the best thing ever. There's times, of course, it's reality TV. There's times that you're things come up and you're not happy. I wasn't thrilled when I was, not on season 13, but that's life. But to have all the stuff that's going on, I'm very, very surprised by it. And, I've always had a positive ongoing relationship with my production people and with NBC. And Andy, he's always been great. I don't really see Andy. I'd see Andy at reunions and watch what happens live. It's not like we hung out with Andy. You know what I'm saying? That's the weird part of it. Mm-hmm. Literally in all the years, I think I saw him almost 6 times at a reunion, 6, 7 times at Watch What Happens Live, and maybe at different events, but you didn't really hang out with him.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah,
it was bad because what I do really love is that this opportunity for me personally, from a personal point of view, that someone that kind of lost her husband, had my daughter go to college in their 50s, had this whole new career. We wouldn't be talking today. I wouldn't be doing this partnership with Clorox. I probably wouldn't have kept Bluestone Manor. It has brought nothing but so many opportunities and partnerships and positive, far more positive than any negative. As I said, I'm not going to walk around and say everything's always perfect, because that's not life. That wouldn't be real. But, look at it, still going strong.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, you know, it's brought you so many wonderful things in your life. And,
Joy.
you know, finally, you know, back in December, you said you were putting yourself out there, trying to, you know, when it comes to love life and things like that. So I know everybody would love an update. How are things going in that
I
department?
have a date tonight.
Very nice.
It's going. You said you were going to help me with that.
Yes, right. I did.
You
I've
did.
dropped the ball. I've dropped the
But
ball.
what
I'm
is
sorry.
the update? That's what I want to know. No, listen, as I just said to someone, I'm enthusiastically hesistant. I'm very enthusiastic, but then I get hesitant. It's not easy.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Competition out there is heavy.
Well, you are a
Higher.
prize.
No, so I just want to, I still feel very hopeful that I'm going to meet someone. I'm
Yeah.
not looking to be married. I'm not looking for a lord up at the Bluestone Manor. I'm the lady of the manor. That's one is enough, but I would love to meet someone nice. And I have a feeling it's going to happen. I really do. But you know me, I'm eternally hopeful.